Okay, let me make sure that this is working. Start it a little early to get it. Let me see where the feed is. It's kind of annoying. Streaming on YouTube is always it's been really annoying ever since it like switched from Hangouts. It was so easy when it was on Hangouts. It really was, and they made it so hard. Ever since it like switched. Okay. Since it like switched. Shit. Let me make sure that this is working. All right, the quality is a bit poor. Trying to get this set up. It's not looking good right now. Shit. Wow, that's not good. That's not good at all. Okay. Trying to get this fixed up. The stream is not even showing up on my channel, it looks like, so let's see what that's about. I don't know why it's not doing that. Easy. Fuck off. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. No chat either, so why is he texting? Is that why? What the fuck? Okay. Hello? Is this working? Hello? Is this working? It appears like it is working. Okay. All right, it's gonna buffer because the Wi-Fi here is very bad, but hopefully you guys can still understand me. If it's too bad, I'll just stop. Let me post it real quick. Just posting on Twitter. Yeah, that's why I started like a few minutes early. Okay, so it does. All right, we're starting to get comments in, so it is working. tell me how bad the buffering is. Like if it's too bad, I'll just stream another time. I'm at my dorm. The dorm doesn't have the best Wi-Fi, so. All right, just posting the link real quick on Twitter. All right, tell me how the if it's lagging or buffering, just let me know. That's you guys' job as I set this whole thing up. And then I'll get into it. All right. Okay. All right, so I'll wait about like 4 minutes just to hit the 4:10 mark, and then I'm gonna start talking about the design overview. But yeah, mostly my streams are just goofing around and stuff, but I do want to be a bit more serious because I'm probably gonna leave this upload on YouTube. Well, actually, currently have some of the other streams up on YouTube, but this one, I just want to talk about the design process of my Thomas model. So get into that. Great. Okay, so all right, people are pouring in the chat. That's good. That's good. From the video replay, it does look like it's buffering a bit, but I can't really help that. So hopefully it gets better. All right, 23 viewers. I'll probably get started in like another minute. Hello, Peckett Productions. Thank you. Is that Josiah? I think that's Josiah. I forgot his account name. All right, so okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So basically the point of this stream is to just go over my Thomas model, which hopefully I can get printed soon, and take some questions about the design and stuff like that. As I mentioned earlier, I usually do more like just laid back streams, but I do want to be a bit more serious with this one because I want to like go over the design process and stuff like that. Plus, I haven't done a proper upload in months, so this can constitute for one. So yay! All right, but yeah, let's get started. So I want to get a better Thomas model because the Bachmann one is kind of shitty. Like it's not horrible in terms of proportions, but I wanted to do something a bit more personalized anyway. I wanted to sort of like mix elements of all of the Thomas models like made for the TV series, and not really, but sort of vague elements from the Railway series. Not really, though. It's mostly TV series stuff. But it basically formed this conglomeration that is my sweet love child now. I really love this model, and I really hope to get it printed soon, but it's been rough, and that's what I wanted to host the stream about, because designing something for the purpose of printing and also for the purpose of like being really small and hiding a motor and all this sort of stuff was really tedious and really painstaking. It took a long time. I've been working on this CAD since like November to try to fit on, or no, October. Yeah, I originally finished it in November. Then I took a long break because I was waiting to get it printed. But even then, it wasn't ready to print. So I got back to it in like January or something. But yeah, it's been on the workshop for a while. So yeah, let's dive into it. Here's the shell itself. Um, the shell itself, I'm trying to zoom in on that. I'm gonna hide this so I get an overview. I had to make the the boiler itself a bit thicker, so that way it could print properly. The funnel and dome pieces are by my friend James. He's the guy that makes like all the orthos. He also did the orthos for the model itself, the pack scale model, because that's what it's based off. It's based off the proportions of the pack scale model, not the gauge 1 model. And I did the pack scale one because it's a bit longer, and I like that. It's like it's a little bit more proportioned to an E2, but not enough that it's like extremely long like the Railway Series one. Because I'm honestly not that big a fan of long Thomas. I like him being short, but not too short. So I think this was a really good like way to sort of meet ends in the middle. What you see right here, the little where the smoke box stand is, sort of where this red dot is, that was the hardest part to make because that is where the motor itself is, and I had a really hard time fitting the motor in. I still haven't got the test print, so hopefully it does fit. If it doesn't, I'm going to be very sad, but I had to make it a lot wider than I anticipated just to be able to hold the motor. The motor itself is like 1.2 centimeters, and the shell, like the width right here to be able to fit the motor is like 1.8 or no 1.28. So yeah, it's a very tight fit because I wanted Thomas obviously has a very narrow smoke box stand, and I didn't really want it to be like the Bachmann one where he's got like a really thick one. So it was really a tough time trying to like fit it so it was able to fit. Or that's using the same word twice, but whatever. Okay, so I am lagging or glitching a bit. I'm sorry about that. I'll try to talk a little bit slower so that way if it like cuts out, I can get back on track. So what I did most recently is actually a little wire compartment for like electronics if they need to be stored in the bunker. As you can see, there's a lot of open space by this sort of red dot. That is sort of where the end of the motor is, but more so it's for weights. So like right where the tanks are, I could put 2 weights right here where this red dot is and right here where this red dot is. And weights help the model like stay on the track and also be able to pull things, because by weighing down the model, it's able to like stick to the track better and haul goods and stuff like that. So it's important to be able to have places where you can fit in weights, and luckily the tank space allowed me to utilize that. The print will be a bit thick, like right here, sort of by these 2 ends where the dome is. Wish I had like some sort of tool where I could point, but like see where the dome is, and if you look straight up and down from that, you see these 2 little thick areas. So that actually is able to that's one of the few things I still need to do, but I'm going to basically put a screw hole around there, and that's one of the places it's going to screw in. It's going to screw in right there, and then also by the cab. As you can see, the cab is completely open, which is awesome because that means I'm going to be able to have a cab interior. That was one of my hardest demands to meet. I wanted a lot of things out of this model, and that was one of the most complicated because that meant that I had to put the motor in front. And as I said earlier, I had to make the smoke box stand a lot thicker as a result. Yes, it is for HOOO models. Yeah, I've got a lot of people asking if it was like gauge 1 or something. No, if it was gauge 1, in some ways it would have been easier to fit motor compartments and stuff. In some ways harder, but for HO, it's very annoying because with gauge 1, you can sort of put whatever on a shell. You can just sort of make whatever shell and then make it so like the motor fits in and stuff like that. But for HO, you got to really work with the motor itself and try to like make it so that a shell could fit on, because you're doing something a lot smaller. I feel so bad for the people doing like N scale. It's so limiting and like hard to get around the smaller scale. All right, so as you can see, the bunker is open, and that's so I can fit like realistic coal and stuff like that. And I also have the little, I don't remember what they're called, but the little lines here by the bunker. So that's an add bonus. Yeah, one thing that's hard with the Bachmann Thomas is if you're trying to cut out the coal load, you still have to cut those lines out too, and it's really annoying to like try to fit real coal in there. So this made it much easier to just do the whole thing in print. You may notice like a little step above where the cab is, like right here, sort of by this red dot, like right here, there's a little like ledge or step or whatever. That's only on the close-up prop. And the reason why I did that is because like scaling down the gauge 1 props and all the props for that matter to HOOO is really hard. And you're going to notice that like engines are kind of big or the figures are kind of small. And that's something that was kind of annoying, is like whenever I'd have like a little figure or something and I try to put it by Thomas, the Bachmann model, the figures were a little small compared to him. Like they wouldn't fit right in his cab. The cab wasn't open, but like if I wanted to put them by the door, you could see that the cab window was a lot taller than they were. So I made this little step so that way if you put a figure in, their head should be perfectly aligned with the window so it looks like they're looking out of it. I also did print out cab controls. I didn't make my own. I bought some off of Knuckles SCC, the Sparkshot guy. Basically, he had some for his E2 model, and I said like, hey, that's basically the same thing. Can you just print out the cab piece? And he was like, sure. And so I already had that shipped to me, and it should fit. So that's great. The only other thing now is if I want to add like a little bit of bunker detail, if I wanted to add like a little hatch where the coal would come out, I'd put that in there. I might try to make that with like styrene and stuff, because I don't know if I could do that in a 3D model, because I'm still not that great at 3D modeling. This was my first thing I've ever made, so it's been a process. Checking the comments real quick. All right, nothing much so far. Oh, Noah asked about printing at the school. So I have a long story about that. Am I going to tell that now? Yeah, sure. So I ended up going to the print lab to try to get this printed. I submitted the file about a week ago, and I got no response. And so 2 days ago, I got fed up and I just marched on over there because it's like 4 minutes away from my dorm. And I asked what was going on, and no one was there. So I waited for like 30 minutes, and finally someone came in. Apparently the guy that managed, it's student run, and one of the students that runs it got COVID, so another student had to take over for his shift. So when that student came, He talked me through the process and stuff like that. And that's when I ran into some troubles with the Thomas print, and I'll go over those in a second. But in short, um, the printers themselves weren't that high quality. So sadly, I'm going to have to rely on Shapeways. I totaled it up, and printing the whole shell off of Shapeways is just going to be a little shy of $100, which is bad, but not horrible. Like, I, I didn't really want to pay $100 to get this printed. However, I was really afraid that it was going to total up to like 200-ish, and I wasn't going to do that. So, yeah, $100 is really frustrating, but I've spent $100 on worse things. Like, honestly, Plus, most model trains cost like over 100, so it's not too bad of a loss. Yeah, Green. My friend Green's Trains, he test printed it, and that was the first test print. I've yet to actually show that one off on Twitter or any platform. And yeah, that's when I fixed up some of the problems, because the test print itself was it was it that's I could definitely see some faults in my design. That's when I had to go back and fix things, because the walls were too thin, and then like some parts just didn't print at all. Some of the smaller ones. So yeah, that was the first test print. I'm getting this, and hopefully the school is going to give me the second test print, because even though I'm not going to use that for the final, I need a test print to like fit in my hands and make sure it fits onto the motor. Because if it doesn't fit on the motor, and then I pay $100 for a shell on Shapeways, then I've just wasted $100, and that's not good. Yeah, Green's Train's printer it's right in the middle. It's better than the ones at my school, which is really sad because I expected a lot more from my school. But it is worse than the ones on Shapeways. So it's right in the middle. So I am going to be using the ones on Shapeways, because that's going to be like the best print I can get. Um, but it was really nice of Green's Trains to do a test print for me, and I'm still going to pay him for the materials used and all that stuff, as I will pay the school for the materials used for the test print, which luckily was very cheap. The test print at the school is only like $11, which is awesome. Like $11 for a test print is an amazing price, for something that's going to end up being thrown away. Well, not thrown away, but I can make this into like a scrap model. But yeah, the final one will be printed on Shapeways. I'm doing smooth fine detail plastic instead of smoothest fine detail plastic, because I feel like the way that Tinkercad has like some objects such as cylinders and stuff, they don't render perfectly, so it helps to sand down your print anyway. So that's why I'm doing the smooth instead of smoothest, so that way I can just go ahead and sand it a little bit. Oh wow! Someone in the chat named Spacey Boy says they're doing a Stanley in 00 scale, making a 3D model of it. That's really cool, man. I'd love to see that finished. What style Thomas is this? This is my own personal style. However, it's mainly based on the pack scale model. I've used orthos from Jamos Tramos. I believe that's his name. I just call him James. I've known him for years. But yeah, it's based on the pack scale model. However, it's got some details, and that's what I'm about to go over right now. So, starting with with one of the things that caused me a lot of frustration recently, let's take a look at the tank caps. So you may have noticed that Thomas doesn't have any tank caps. There's just a hole and then a little hinge. And that's because I want to make it so that you can open up the tank caps, and you can make it so you're like adding water and stuff like that. That's something that's definitely possible. I've seen it done before, but oh my god, it was a bitch to print. I had so that's one of the things that the school fucked up. Like the school was like, yeah, we're having trouble printing your model because of the tank caps. So yeah, for the last few days, I was reworking stuff to be able to print it. Um, so let me find the tank cap model real quick. There it is. It's red right now. It's obviously going to be blue. Um, but yeah, this is the tank cap itself. You'll notice two holes, and you may have seen the two holes on the body shell. But yeah, there's basically I'm going to add like a short little rod to fit through that and connect it to the body shell. I'm not here. Let me see if I can. No. There. Just trying to get both in frame. Doesn't look like I can. But oh, wait. Shit. Okay, this is annoying. Fuck. Damn it. Okay. There. You see how it has like those two holes? So yeah, I'm basically going to slide a rod through that and then through this. And then there you go. Then the tank cap can open and close. And I feel like that's something that's really cool. I haven't ever seen that done on a 00 scale model. So hopefully it works out. Boo, boo, says Turtles. Oh, that's so sad. Make me cry. Connor says, excellent model. Thank you. Oh, the lamp irons. That's a great question. Thank you. Let's go over that. So I was going over. Oh, no, I actually do have it out. Okay. Let's zoom in on that. Zoom in a bit more. So I take a lot of inspiration from Suttering Railway Modeler. I've loved his work since I was a kid. And he makes his lamp irons out of craft wire. And I'm going to try that. So what I've done is I put like 3 tiny holes on the running plate that just have a little bit of depth in for them so that you can like slide a little wire into them and that will be the lamp iron. However, the hard part is adding like the little rim around the lamp iron. I don't know if I can actually, I'm going to make like a 2-second model to describe what I'm talking about. But the lamp irons in the show, basically they look like they sort of look somewhat like that. Actually, that's too thick. Yeah, they look somewhat like that, where it's like it kind of looks like a screw, you know. So that's the hard part, the bottom part. I think Stuttering Railway Model, or Steven, he said he uses like tape, and that's smart because like that's like a really like thin substance, but also thick enough that it shows like a little depth to it. So hopefully that works out. But either way, the wire should be able to fit right in. Was the model made from scratch or was it scanned from another Thomas? No, it was made entirely from scratch. The orthos were made by Jamos Tramos, as it is. Actually, you know, I'll pull that up right now. Let me, because yeah, I did want to show this off on stream, so let me switch tabs. Is there a way I can switch tabs, or can I just not do that? Hopefully there is. Can I do that? Share your screen. Application window. Oh, look, I can. Wow, that's great. Is that working? Let me see if that worked. Did that work? It does not look like it. Wait. Yes, it did work. Okay. So this is these are the orthos. They're free to use by Jamos. I'm really glad he made them free to use. But this is how I scale things. Um, you can see like, yeah, I basically have all the parts laid out so I could like basically scale it up and do everything the right way, shit like that, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, the boiler itself was like 175 millimeters, stuff like that, or centimeter. Yeah, 175 millimeters. But yeah, I've scaled all the parts from using these orthos and stuff like that. You can see I have multiple layers upon each other. One of the few things that I used from the Gauge 1 model were the step ladders, so I have that laid out right there. Right there. I have those for size. You got to be careful with orthos for like perspective. Sometimes it can be hard to get the perspective right, but I think I did a pretty good job. Like looking at my model, nothing looks horribly off. And plus, I'm doing something a bit more personal anyway. So even if it's off, it's not the end of the world. It's not supposed to be something that's like 100% accurate. So yeah. But yeah, that's the orthos. In case you're curious about how I scaled this up, I started with the wheel. I'm using Oliver wheels, Bachmann Oliver wheels, because they don't have counterweights. Counterweights are the things on the wheels that are sort of like a crescent moon, if you don't know. And Bachmann Oliver does not have counterweights. And the reason why I needed wheels that don't have counterweights is because if you look closely, Thomas's counterweights are off. There's one that's in a different position than the other, and that's how it looks like on a real E2. That's why I really love the pack scale model. It's like I forgot who designed it, but the designer made it like just ever so slightly closer to an actual E2. So it really makes you appreciate the pack scale one, even if the faces were ugly at first. Yeah, it's slightly longer, it's slightly bigger, it has more accurate wheels, and it has the I forgot the term, but the like funnel like slopes in or whatever. I got one more question from Ryan. I remember he was asking if I was ever going to print more Thomases. I'd love to. I'd really like to make variants. I don't know if I'd ever do LBSC Thomas, but I'd love to do one of my favorite things is weathering. I'd really love to do like a Legend of the Lost Treasure Thomas, where he's got like dirt over him and stuff like that, and he's got like bent up buffers, and he's like you can like see the metal coming off and stuff like that, or not the paint coming off and revealing the metal. That's what I meant to say. All right, switching back to the Tinkercad one. Let me check to make sure that worked. But yeah, the problem is that like a Thomas, like printing one Thomas model is $100. So yeah, I'd be spending $200 if I want two different ones. So maybe, I don't know, maybe as like a Christmas present, my mom could print me out another one and I could do a variant. Right now, I'm just doing the main blue boy. Why'd you choose a pack scale model? Yeah, as I said, I really like the proportions better. I think it's a lot more fun. Trying to catch up on some of the comments. I think I'm all caught up. All right, so getting back to the design. So looking at the running board, as I mentioned earlier, I don't think I mentioned that yet. I did, although it's mainly based on the pack scale model, there are some elements from like the close-up scale model. And one of them is the tank caps. So the thing about the tank caps is they're modeled directly after the close-up scale ones, because on the Gauge 1 prop, the tank caps didn't open. So on the close-up scale model, they did, and yada yada. That's why they have the hinges and stuff. I find it really interesting because you see the hinges are like closer to the boiler. In the Railway series, they're like not on the opposite side, but like 90 degrees from where they are right now. So that's kind of interesting. Anyway, getting on to the running board. As you see, it's got little indentations for the wheels so that they can peer through. And then this right here helps for when I want to have the screws screw into the body. Like those little, God, it's so hard. I really wish there was like a pointing tool, but like, see where the square is? Like that, this part? That's basically so I can like screw on the shell. And I also can screw on the shell right here. And then you may have noticed this weird sort of cylinder shape. So that's the fun and also difficult part. For my Thomas model, I wanted to have a bonus section for electronics. So ideally, I'll be able to fit a battery in there, or not me, but Noah, my friend Noah, who's going to hopefully do that because I'm horrible for electronics. Ideally, Noah will be able to fit a battery right under the bunker. Let me fix that up so you guys can see that. Yeah, as you can see here, the basically there's a part where, God, I really wish there was a pointing tool. Okay, there's this wall right here. Shit, oh my God. I'm so sorry, guys. There. Right here where the square is. So that's like a little divider. The coal will basically go on top of that. And then, you'll see these lines and stuff, and it'll look like it's filled to the brim with coal. But in actuality, after that little divider, it's hollow on the inside, and it's hollow so you can basically fit a battery pack if you want to have, ideally, the tail lamp and headlamp that I'll try to fit on light up. Or, if that backfires, at the very least, this can be a spot if I ever want to change him to DCC. So the DCC chip will be like hidden in here. And then the wires can like sort of slope through this little area and then go into the motor, which is housed right at the front. Oh, shit. There we go. And yeah, it's a bit different on the running board because that's where the wires would go in from the battery pack, where you see it sort of like curves upward. And then there's this hole right in the center for how the wires connect to the what's the term? The like where like the where like the brass connectors are to the wheels on an HO model, and like there's a wire there. It's like that. Yeah, that piece. But yeah, so there's different places where the wires can sort of like slide in through. So I was really happy about that. I still need to do the screw holes where the body's going to be screwed in. But at the very least, I have all the wire holes done. All right, checking up on comments. Hello to everyone joining in and stuff like that. Also, another thing that you guys may have noticed is the rivets. Let's talk about those for a second. Yeah, there were no rivets on the close-up on the pack scale model except for these two. For some reason, they had two rivets by the Stepladders, and that was only in one shot. That was for the pack scale model was first shown in a season 5 music video for Night Train, I believe. And yeah, they did that for a close-up of the wheels. But right above that, you can see that there was two rivets where the Stepladders were. So I did that on my model because I wanted to make it like a bit more detailed just for fun. So yeah, I also included the rivets of the close-up scale model. These weren't originally going to be the only rivets he had. I originally planned on doing the other close-up scale rivets, which were on the back of the bunker and in like the front and back ends of the smoke box. However, these just wouldn't print right. The rivets, they just did not print right. It was not going to show up. So I decided to just say fuck it, because I was going to have to sand down the model anyway, and I'd probably end up sanding them off. But the running board, I really don't have to do that much sanding on, especially because these rivets are on a flat surface already, so not too bad. And then, yeah, there's 2 spots for the buffers and then 1 spot for the coupling hook. I did not include a spot for the brake pipe because that's just going to be glued on. I don't really need to put that on there. I don't really need a hole to put that on there. I can just like glue it on. Doesn't matter. Paxico Percy, no. Paxico Percy is horrible. I hate Paxico Percy. He's got like a green dome. He's got a weird face. I love the Paxico Thomas model, but I'm not a fan of the Percy one. It's not. Paxico Percy and Wharf Scale James are like the worst models in the show. All right, the step ladder though. This is like the series 1 to 2 step ladder, which is really cool because I like that step ladder better. That's really the only reason why. As I said, I'm doing something a bit more personal for this Thomas model, so I was like, I want to do my favorite step ladder, and I like this one because it's a bit longer. So yeah, printing 2 of those. And then there's really not a lot to talk about at all with Splasher. I mean, it's half a circle. Like, it's really not interesting at all. I don't really have anything to say on that one. Moving on to the roof then. So the roof is detachable. It's probably going to be either like, I haven't found a good way to like make it so it can like come off and on. I might just lightly glue it or like have it so it's like puttied on. But you can see there's like thin lines so it fits on well into the cab. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The last thing to say about it is that, once again, Tinkercad has a lot of trouble rendering circles and cylinders. So I'm getting the roof piece printed in like a really shitty type of plastic that's kind of grainy, and that will allow me to just sand it down anyway and also save a shit ton of money because otherwise it would be a bit more expensive. But yeah, as you can see, there's like those tiny little lines around it, so yeah, that they won't show up after they're sanded, but yeah, a little bit of sandpaper will fix that. All right, checking in on comments. They repainted the green dome to gold in season 11 to 12. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Expand the fit with a strip of cardstock or similar to make it snug. Yeah, I could do that. All right, so the last thing to talk about before I end the stream is pricing. I want to talk about like what I'm doing for pricing and stuff like that. I already mentioned. Oh shoot! I already mentioned that a little bit with the roof, but yeah. So the body and the running board pieces are going to be printed in smooth, fine detail plastic. I have the Shapeways page pulled up, I believe. Oh, should I delete those from my cart? I believe the running plate was like. The running plate and the body were the most expensive parts, unsurprisingly. I believe the body was like $46 to be printed in or no, was it cheaper? I can't remember. I cannot remember. Can I check right now? I think I can. I'm gonna check right now. Let's see. Excuse me while I check this real quick. Just checking that. Okay. Okay, so the body would be $28.58 for fine detail plastic, which that's not horrible. It's just the fact that it totals up really fast. The running plate, I believe, was like I want to say it was 1251. I could easily be wrong though, but I think it was 1251. Then and both of those were being printed in fine detail plastic, which isn't like the smoothest thing, but it's like the second closest to the smoothest print you can get. And so that way, because I'm going to be sanding them both down a tiny little bit, so I think that's my best option for that. The roof and the tank caps are being printed, or no, the roof, the splashers, and the tank caps are all being printed in white versatile plastic. All of them total up to $5, I believe. However, there's 2 splashers and 2 tank caps, so that's 20, and then 25 for the roof, and including the roof. The reason why I'm doing white for them is because they're such basic shapes that I can just sand them down, so it doesn't really matter. And as I mentioned with the roof, the way that curves in, it'd need to be sanded anyway. But for the tank cap, that was honestly the only plastic they could print it in because it's such a small piece. Hopefully it prints right. I'm really hoping it prints right, because if it doesn't, I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board and figure out some way to fix it. I don't know why Shapeways is having so much trouble printing it, because this is bigger than like some of the other models I've seen be sold on Shapeways. Like, I've seen people sell coupling hooks. I've seen people sell like lamps. This is bigger than all those, and I don't know why it's having so much trouble being printed. You know, I don't think it's the holes. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Hopefully it prints right in white versatile plastic. If it doesn't, I'm going to be very sad. And then the last thing was the Stepladders, which are being printed in fine detail plastic because they don't really need too much sanding, so they're kind of fine the way they are. All right, so that pretty much finishes it up. Let me reset the view so you guys can see the shell. As before I close out the stream, I'll take any other questions that I have. I'm really passionate about this project. This is seriously, like, I know that's a stupid joke name I called it, but it is my love child. I love this project so much. I've worked my ass off on it to try to get it right, to try to get everything that I wanted, from the open cab to the rivets on the buffer beam to the openable tin caps to the detachable roof to the space in the bunker where you can fit DCC or lighting. It's been such a process to try to fit everything, and I'm really proud that's come this far. I just hope to God it prints right. I'm really worried about that. I can see it now where I submit it to Shapeways and then I get an email back and it says like, we weren't able to print one of your parts, and I'm like, oh God, hopefully that doesn't happen. But you don't know, you never know. That's why I'm doing that's why I'm doing a prototype at my school first. All right. So yeah, any more questions before I shut off the stream? Are you planning on getting it done before the Magic Aurora show? That is the fucking goal. That is seriously the goal. Like, I'm hoping to God it's able to be done before the Magic Aurora show, because even after it's printed, even after it's finally printed, there is still so much to be done. Like, going over it, I have to receive, actually, let's start from where I am now. I wait a few more days for the test print to be printed at the lab. I get the test print, and then I check that it fits on the motor. And then after that, I can go ahead and order it on Shapeways. After the Shapeways package comes in, I take the motor and any other parts and stuff that I need. I send it off to Noah. Noah wires up the motor to the shell and stuff like that. He finishes up the wheels. I also need to send him the wheels. I don't know if those have come yet. Shit. Yeah. Then after that,
he ships it back. At this point, it's like March or April. Jesus Christ. Yeah, at this point, it's like March or April, and I finally am ready to paint. Yeah, maybe. Either paint or sand. I think that's when I would sand the shell. Or maybe I would do that before I shipped it off to Noah. I don't know. Got him. Yeah, I'm trying to think this out. But yeah, and painting doesn't take too long, but it's actually painting could be done in like a week, but it all depends on motivation because it's a really tedious process. But yeah, after it's painted, there's still one more thing to do after that, which would be the cab interior. Painting the cab piece itself is going to be a fucking bitch to do. And then I might have you do it, Noah. I might do it myself. The only thing that I might have, I'm like certain I might have to have Noah do is I might have to have him file the motor to make sure it fits on the shell in case like I'm hoping at the very least it's like it barely doesn't fit, and that way I can just like sand it from the inside and or sand the motor and then it'll fit perfectly. But yeah, that's the only thing that I'm sure I'll have to have Noah do because I am scared to death of working with expensive electronics because I've fucked up like an expensive motor before and I don't want to do that again. I trust Noah a lot more of this stuff. But yeah, ideally, God, I really hope so, but ideally it'll be done by May. I really hope so. That's at this point that's the best that I can do. I'd love to get it done sooner, but it's just there's so much more that needs to be done. But yeah, I believe the Magic Railway show is in like June. So I'm praying to God that if I can get it done, during May, that I'll have it ready for the Magic Railway show. Okay, yeah. So that settles it. That was a long ass talk, but yeah. Finishing up the comments, yeah. I hope the convention doesn't get canceled again. But if it does because of COVID, it's understandable. Yeah, the Spacey Boy, the guy who was talking about his Stanley, said that he was trying to get his Stanley done for Magic Railway show too. So that's cool. Thank you, Hobby's Cat. Hobby's Cat was talking about the weights. So I actually did discuss that already on the stream. There are 2 spots for weights right by the tanks, and that's where that's where you'd fit the weights in. There might be some space. Honestly, actually, the battery pack itself will probably weigh a little bit, and that's gonna go in the bunker. So yeah, the weight should be fine. It should be as long as I put something in the bunker compartment, which won't be hard to put something in there. It should be weighted properly. Because, yeah, then you'll have an even distribution all throughout it. You'd have the motor in the front, the battery pack or weight in the back of the bunker, and then 2 weights right in the middle by the tanks. So, yeah, it would be perfectly distributed pretty much. So thank you for checking me for that. Don't worry, I've thought of everything. Yeah, you did miss a lot. The battery pack is to hopefully make it so that it can light up. And because I'm hoping to. Noah is brilliant, and he's been able to fit like a little lamp on the front and back of his Thomas model. And he said that it was really hard to do with the Bachmann model, but mine has a little bit more space, so hopefully it's a little bit easier. I'm sure it will still be a tight squeeze, but hopefully it's possible. If not, I can just paint the lamps on, and it won't be the end of the world. It'll be a little bit sad, but sometimes you gotta make sacrifices, like with the smokebox neck. That's really ended up being thick, but it's okay. I still love this thing. All right, so I think I'm all caught up on the comments and stuff. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. I had a lot of fun going over this. As I said earlier, I'm very passionate about this project, so Yeah, I can honestly talk all day about this shit, but I don't want to drag on. We're already at about an hour. I'm leaving this video up in case anyone is curious about the process and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Yeah, that's the best way to do it if you use gloss paint on the lenses. All right, but yeah, thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll upload more often. This has been my first upload in a while, but it's kind of hard because I'm at my dorm. But yeah, thank you all for watching.